the keys and everything to go
I'm
right
gonna
through.
listen. Yeah.
And it should, I've already edited the titles, so it should all be good to go. Looks like you're good.
Good.
So do we have everybody that you were expecting, Dan?
I'm hoping that a representative from each committee is present, and I think that we are there. Yes.
Okay. So do you want me to share? How do you want to do it? Like a roundtable? Each committee just puts out what they think they need, and I'll keep track of it.
Yeah.
But
What I wanted to ask, if we could just review. Simon is new this year. Everybody else has kind of seen kind of the general. There's a just to set the stage for this meeting, right? So the city of Columbus will give each area commission $2,500 to be used between May 1st, 2022 and April 30th, 2023. The money can be used for certain items. There's we kind of shared that. There's supplies and materials, meeting space. There's. Are you able to show that, Sean?
yeah, let me see if I'll try to hit this share my screen and
Okay.
see what happens. Let's go here. Say share. So
it's coming through. Yeah, great.
So these are the categories that we have right here. And then the numbers I have down here in the bottom are what we planned for this year, right? So by committee, so we would have some history to at least look at. And then further down here is what we've spent year to date. So one thing I will say is while this adds up to 2,500, we really have 2,800 because we have that extra 300 sitting there. I assume it'll be there again next year. So if we put a budget together, why not put one together to spend 28 and, use it all, opposed to eventually they're either going to take it or we're going to lose it. Something's going to happen.
So can I make a recommendation that we start with the zoning committee? I think that Patrick, Rachel, I think that we're going to see increased expenses there this year based on the, that we have to mail out postcards now and pay for postage, those kinds of things, right? I just wanted to go over that if that's a place that we could start. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think that's fine. So previously, just to go over the change, so previously the city had provided pre-printed postcards with just like blank fields, so I would print on them, and they already had the postage prefixed. So I just run those postcards through, print out the labels, and then I'd stick all those labels on to the postcards. The change is that the city will no longer be providing those postcards with the postage prepaid. So they basically told us that we can pay for our own postage.
Is there any talk about the city making the zoning, the person asking for the updates or the zoning changes to send them out opposed to us?
So apparently the applicant's not required to send it, and actually we're not even required to send them either.
Really?
Yeah. So like our sending them, according to Melissa Green, has always been a courtesy, not a requirement. They're only required for the development commission itself. So the next stage of the application is the one that requires it, since our opinion, I guess, is like advisory and not really part of it's not the official position.
So should we work to get a list of organizations or something that we could, send an email to, opposed to having to mail out the postcards then? I mean, I remember how much of a hassle it was to put those postcards out to get maybe 3 or 4 people to show up. It might be better communication if we could get to the organizations.
So it is a pain in the neck. I'm not gonna lie. It is the worst part about being part of zoning. is, getting these postcards out the door. That being said, we got, quite a few people came from the Sheets application, people come from Alki Road, like those, like that's like absent setting those things out. Like, I think a lot of these applications would get missed.
Well, but like for the Alkire Road thing, for instance, if you got an email to the Alkire Road, that community via the organization they have out there, I think it's an HOA,
right.
they would have gotten it. Even, I mean, just one person in that group getting a postcard got that whole group, but I think you would get more on that one as an example. I don't know that the area behind the Sheets has one or not, but if we could get a high, at least get a feel for those kind of organizations, it'd be great. Eventually we could use that better than the postcards, because it would get to more people.
I mean, I think you're right that like procuring and curating a mailing list in general, emailing lists is going to be long-term a good solution and / better solution for getting the word out about zoning. But I don't think we're in a place right now where, we're connected to all the HOAs and enough of those groups to like just outright replace the the postage and everything. I just don't think that we can. I don't think we're ready to do that right now.
Right. I would agree with not right now, but eventually get there. And even our Facebook page probably could do a better job of letting them know.
I think you're right in general. I think that's probably true. But that aside, I do know that these postcards have worked for some people, not all the time. And like honestly, like the other big problem with it is that the area around it, like the radius they have is like only a few hundred feet. Like it's barely anything.
150 or so. Something like
so it's like it's not like a whole bunch of people get them, but the people who do it's pretty high impact for the people who receive it, is what I'm getting at, because it's generally the properties that are closest to it. And so there are some people who would be affected who aren't going to be receiving these postcards, but I think they're good for right now. That being said, two things that I would request for zoning for this is more of these postcard stamps, because they're not very expensive, fortunately. They're a lot cheaper than the full postage for first class. And the other thing I would probably, I do need also more mailing labels, the 5160. Even though I had like a bunch of sheets, I burned through them pretty fast, because I like these things. It's even if they take up only half of a sheet, since they're PDFs that they send me, I can't just recycle like the rest of them. So I will need more of the Avery labels. It looks like I did pull up the cost on those. The 5160, a package of them is on the Avery website's $38 for one, and that's a sale price.
How many is in a pack?
Let's see here. 100 sheets. And the 100 sheets should last a year, but I don't think it'll last much longer than that, because it's a PDF every time. So one's gone, it's done. And there's also spoilage because my printer's not great. So there's a certain level of spoilage. I'd say probably about 10 to 15% of them. So 10 to 15 are just gonna be ruined because of reasons.
So the 82 that we just spent on stamps.
Yes.
How long? So should I double that for next year? Make it 164?
So the 80 that we bought, the ones that we bought, so it's 2 rolls of 100, so that's 200 of them. So it depends on the applications. So I would say probably we send out in the range of 50 to 100 a month. So these 200 probably last about 4 months. that I have right now. Unless we get a lot of the Alkire. So like the Alkire application, because it's such a big property and it's next to multiple developments. It's, every edge of that, that corner. So like, it's got like 60 of them in that one. So, when I print them out tonight and send them out tomorrow, there's going to be 60 more of them that come out.
So 164 will get you the remainder of a year then, right? That'd be 8 months worth if you think $80 got
Yeah,
us.
I think so.
Yeah. So
Unless we get a lot, like I
Yeah.
said, the caveat being if we get a lot more of these Alkire run type applications, they burn through them a lot faster.
So to me, Dan, that sounds like something that we put in 165 and then we look at what we've got left this year and maybe buy another batch to push us.
Yeah, so let me just clarify. So you said, Patrick, you could send out between 50 and 100 postcards in any given month.
Yeah.
So, on average, let's say we're doing 75, 12 months, 40 cents a stamp. I think that's what the postcard stamps cost. That's like $360 a year.
Let me see.
Postcards are cheaper than that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Are they cheaper than 40 cents?
Let me see what the current rate is for postcard stamps.
Well, what do we just buy? How many do we just buy?
Oh,
100?
No, you're right. They are 40 cents each. First class got really expensive.
I wanted to propose that, we have between like $350 and $400, and it just for postage is, I think, what it's going to potentially cost.
Well, we just bought $80 worth. So we bought 200.
Yeah, that could last
200
3
to get
months.
us 3 months. Okay. Well,
Just
we'll do
one other
3.
comment. I think that, we did talk at one point about whether or not there were some more permanent kind of signs that we could potentially purchase, maybe a couple, put a poster board on it, saying this address is, has a zoning variance request in, and the date and the time of our area commission meeting, or, that we talked about that, didn't we, Patrick and Rachel, at some meeting, talking about some more kind of permanent signage that we could not use in every situation, but maybe some.
Yeah. I'm looking at right now because I was thinking how much would a sign like that cost? And I'm looking at the ones kind of like a realtor uses for a for sale house. Something that's metal that we could stick in the ground. For that frame, like the metal frame, and to have something printed one time, corrugated, is about $64 for the sign. If we had it printed on metal instead, then it's about $98. So I guess that's something we'd have to decide on, what the language will be that we'll put on there. That would be something universal that we could use for all different properties. Maybe we could put a sticker on it that has the application number or something like that.
Mhm.
I actually have a picture because I thought about this a long time ago of one that another town uses that I can share, send out or something.
Well, the city does this for some parts of the city already.
Would you say more? You mean they pay for a sign or they have signs or?
Yeah, the city already puts it up for certain area commissions. It's a pilot program, is my understanding, but they already do.
Okay.
It's
Maybe
not
we
for
can get
us.
part of that. Has to be added to that. Or something, I don't know. Okay, so
Yeah,
I,
maybe we could circle back to that once everybody else has made their requests. If there's other money in there, we could say, all right, let's put in another 400, 500 for zoning, so that if we want to order these signs, we can, if there's other money.
and on that label, I think we ought to order labels. Go ahead and order some labels now. We had $50 in there for this year for labels. So why not go ahead and order some? And I'll put 50 in again for next year.
Great.
We have this month and next month to
Order labels, order stamps, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see on the stamps, right? I put 240 in for next year for stamps and then 50 for labels right now, just to get us started.
Okay.
I guess I'd make that 246 because there seems to be a fee for ordering stamps. So I'll change it a little bit. So is that it for zoning then, Dan? You think everything? I mean, just those two items?
Yeah, at this point, I think we're gonna have to recircle back. Is there enough money there? But I think that's a good place to start, and then we can talk to some other committees here. Somebody may like to go next.
I will. Human service and education. I do not foresee us using any of the GHAC funds for anything specific. So just throwing it out there, I'm not requesting any money for 2022, 2023.
All right. I think the next big one we have, if we want to go in size of where the current budget sets, is in community relations.
Sure.
And I know we got things there we need to pay yet this year, probably. So if we could go there next, that'd probably be a good start.
Josh, do you have all that of like the constant comment and the Google's stuff and how much that costs per year?
Yeah, we don't pay anything for Google.
I thought
I don't. No. Somebody does. Don't. We shouldn't. Don't.
Oh, constant contact is what, not
So
constant comment. That's T.
yeah. So constant contact. I just looked and looks like they did approve the nonprofit.
Oh,
And
nice.
so for 12 months, if we prepay for 12 months, it's showing me a subtotal of $84 for
Oh, wow.
0 to 500 contacts. Now, as we increase the amount of contacts, once you get over that 500, the next tier is to 2,500, and that pricing does obviously increase. But you're able to essentially prepay. Let me see what the price goes up to 501. You're able to prepay, and anything that you have paid will go towards bumping you up to the next tier if for whatever reason we were to get to that level. That would be $294 a month if we prepaid for 12 months at more than 501 or more than 500, less than 2,500. So
294 for the year?
Correct.
Okay.
Currently, we're under 500 contacts.
It's a pretty big jump, 84 to 290, but
Yeah, they like to really get you on that one, I guess.
so do we play it safe and put 294, or do we really think we'll get 500?
I think we
That
should. Go ahead.
I couldn't say right now. Like I say, I know we can prepay, and so if we were to use some of this year's remainder towards that, that would put us in a better position. And we could say 294, and then if we don't use that, it's always there.
Yeah, I would say we do the 80. My mind says we do the 84 now.
Yeah.
And then have 294 in next year just to see if it
Just
grows.
to
I don't
give
know.
us the ability.
Over 500 sounds like a lofty goal to me, but that's just my thought.
Yeah,
Yeah, our mailing list right now, if I have this correct, is it sits a little below 150. Or what, like a email distribution list that we have at this point. So
Yep. See here. And so that would be for constant contact. For Restream, currently, let's see here, it looks like 190 a year is the plan that we have at this point.
So is that up from current, this last year anyways, we had 151 or 152. Is that what we paid that one once before? And it's increasing.
Oh, they're giving us a 20% off lifetime discount. I don't know why. Next payment 152, and that'll be on the 29th of April. So it's going to charge 152. They have a very strange scheme.
You said on the 29th of April?
Correct.
Okay, so that'll make our April deadline anyways. Hopefully okay.
I mean,
And that'll be 152, but should I put in 190 next year? In case we don't get the discount?
It says lifetime discount.
Okay.
I don't know what that, maybe we've got grandfathered in at a different pricing schedule last year and they've upped it this year. But they kept us in there because we were already on that, in that schedule. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. I'll put 152 in then.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Our Zoom account's going to be 149.90 due on April 29th.
You squeezed them in at the end, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
Works.
So put in the same 149.90. We only had 140 this year, so.
Yeah, I just looked at the site and that's what I said our next invoice is going to be.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I'll just do 150 for now. Did that have tax on it by chance or not? You were able to
no,
convince them?
we've gotten the tax waived.
Okay,
They have our tax exempt status confirmed.
okay. Is there an advantage to paying that maybe 2 years at a time or?
I don't know. I can look where we're having.
Assuming we're allowed to do that, right? We're allowed to prepay the stuff, right? I mean, I don't remember anything saying we couldn't.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah, I believe Melissa said, go for it.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't help us in the out years other than we could spend this money and then work harder to spend it next year somewhere else, but
Mhm.
for stuff we'd like to have. And then the only other thing I see in the community relations is that award for $75. I think we put it in there thinking it'd be a yearly thing.
Yep, that would be the thought. We have discussed in the last meeting the signage, having signs added with the Greater Hilltop area's new logo on the Hilltop area or the Hilltop welcome signs on Broad Street. I don't have pricing on what that would cost at this point. I have a general idea of what the signs shape or signs size would be, but we tabled that until we could get closer to the sign and kind of do a little bit more with it. So I don't know what that would be. So I think, for the time being, that might be one of those items, much kind of like the zoning where we table that for a minute, see what everybody else is looking for this year, and then come back to it if that's possible.
Okay, I think the HBA pushed not long ago, a year ago, maybe a couple years ago, to try to get people to put stuff on there, and they had a pricing to do that. I don't remember what it was though. Something in the back of my mind said it was a few $100s.
Yeah, I'd imagine be a couple hundred at least. That's why I was trying to find quotes online, and just based off of the general size that I know that the Summer Jam West signs are, but I wasn't able to find anything that was. It's custom, so people obviously want to know what you want on there before they give you a price.
Yeah. Okay. So signage is an option. I'll just put off to the side here. Okay. So who wants to go next? The next thing we have is governance and liaison if we want to go, legislation if we want to go that direction.
Yeah, sure. I think for the most part, we want to maintain the same numbers we had last year. The $100 for printing and $300 for advertising. I know the advertising was a bit of a catch-all for a couple other things, especially related to community relations. So we can move that around if needed. I know that we will most likely need to reprint the postcards that we just got printed. So that $150 pro printing charge that's down at the bottom.
Yep.
I imagine we'll want to repeat that. I think that they're going to run out fairly quickly once we start getting into some events. Otherwise, I mean, I've got a couple of other ideas of how we could spend money if we need to, but that's all I think our committee will need.
Okay. So I'll put in the 300 plus 150 for printing this time instead of the 100 that was there. And really, the advertising and printing end up in the same buckets as miscellaneous. So
Yeah, and the
in their
printing,
buckets.
so that 115, that was like the professional, postcards and business cards. The $100 from last year was like me printing off Word documents at Staples for ballots and flyer, like very makeshift flyers. I don't know if those have to, I'm assuming those can be the same.
Did you submit that as an expense?
No, I need to give them to you.
Okay.
It's not very much. It's like $30.
Okay. All right. So I'll skip finance because we don't need any money. We'll go to human services. And that was what he said. I think didn't need any either, right?
Right.
So liquor permit. Looks like they had
Dan?
$50 last year.
Yeah, Dan, you didn't use that $50, right?
I did not. No, we did not. No.
Yeah, I mean, I would just leave the $50 in case I feel like I want to print something or do a Facebook ad for something, out of the ordinary.
Okay. Do that. Planning, economic development had $0 this year. Any requests for next
No, we're
year?
gonna keep that the same.
Okay. Public safety, public safety had the biggest bucket last year, or requested the most this year. And the only thing that I put under there was those banners that we bought. So I don't know if we need that big bucket again or not.
Adonet is not here.
So do we give them some money, something? Or just hold off for now?
Well, at the public safety committee meeting that we did have, I think we should put some money there. I think that there's going to be an effort to bring a group of people together. So there'd be some advertising and some printing costs. It's not going to be at that level. Maybe if we could keep $100, yeah.
200 work?
I'd be fine with that, Sean. $200.
Okay.
Yeah. We see it now.
We're gonna have plenty.
Start there, and because I think that's a legitimate use of the money. I think that there's an opportunity to have a couple gatherings. We'd like to publicize those. So.
Sounds like Rex and Parks is next, and there's a lot of money left over.
I think we'll probably do the same as liquor permit. Could we just allot like $50 just in case if we need to do like printing or do like any random purchasing?
Okay. Yeah, you had 100 this year. Or you have 100.
Yeah, I don't remember spending any of that last year, but I need to get in contact with Melissa to try to reserve like trash equipment for when we start doing our walks and whatnot.
Okay, so that's, I think we've hit all of them except for the full commission, Dan. And we're at 1717. So we've got some money left.
Something that we mentioned in, I believe, Community Relations Committee last month was the potential of buying a tablecloth. I don't know if that's an allotted or an allowable expense. We're talking about doing a variety of tabling events this year. So something that would just, a standard size, like 8-foot tablecloth that would have our logo and our name on it. I don't know how much those run, but I imagine we could get one printed at the print shop up on North Wilson Road. Might be able to Google a price really quick.
You mean like have something embroidered or something from them?
Yeah, some of the ones that I've had before, they're not embroidered. It's like kind of like a laminated, like an iron-on, almost like a plasticky lettering logo.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we got our shirts back in the day from the guy on North Wilson, and he has the GHAC's old, or at least a GHAC logo of some sort, not the new one, but maybe that's something we ought to do, get our new logo on some stuff. Like a
Yeah, I think
tablecloth.
anything I would want to put money toward would be not individual. It'd be something that, the whole commission can use for years to come. So something like a tablecloth, something like reusable yard signs. I think those banners that we got last year are great for events. So stuff like that.
Yep. I was just thinking a tablecloth could be embroidered on the front where it hangs over the table. So
Yeah, it's basically like that. The ones I've seen are like kind of like a vinyl laminated. I'm
I
looking
just
up
went to
prices.
Vistaprint real quick, just because they were the first one that popped up, just as a real general. And they have a starting price at $375 a unit. Seems a bit high. That's an 8-foot standard, 4 sides. We could do 3 side. What is that? That goes down to 300.
For what, a tablecloth?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's an 8-foot though. So if we cut it back, let me look at 6
The
foot.
ones I'm seeing are about
250.
110.
Yeah, it's Vistaprint, so
Yeah, so I don't know if we could
good or not.
put like a $200 price tag on it and just, we'd have to call around and see what we can get locally, ideally.
We also might be able to just do like a banner that goes in front of the table and then just use, a plain white tablecloth from Target or whatever.
Mhm.
We've also talked about name tags for commissioners for events, like engraved name tags. And I think everybody keeps saying something about James has the info on that.
Yeah, I think
James
that
will-
got approved, didn't it, at one point?
Okay.
Yeah.
It did at one point, yeah.
Last
Oh.
year, Melissa told me not to order them because the city was going to provide them to us, like all area commissions. But that has not happened. So I say we go ahead and buy them.
Commence holding breath.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, well, I would say if that's the case, why not order them now? I mean, we got money right now we could use them for. I forget how much it was, but we got money
Reisner's-
now.
So Reisner on Solomon did say that if we wanted to, we could prepay for X number of name tags. So say this year we want to allot $100 for name tags. That covers X amount of people for the next however many terms. They said they would hold a deposit and then they would allow us to more or less send people down there to ask or request name tags. And I think they were like not even $10 a piece.
I would say that we have currently in the full commission bucket, miscellaneous expense, $137 planned for something. And we could spend that now on name tags if we wanted to.
I'm all for it because, like I said, they said that they would take a deposit on name tags if we wanted to wait and come up with a style and font and all that stuff. Because again, it was a giant book of options to pick from, and they more or less did say they would hold a deposit for us.
Although you said how much a piece? 10?
Yeah, I think it was around $10.
So it's, if there's currently 15 commissioners, that's $150. So, I mean,
And then if we want, we can go ahead and prepay for next year's 5 if they're going to be 5 new commissioners or however we want to do that. If we have money, if we want to spend money now before we have to turn it back in.
I'll leave that up to Dan, I guess, or everybody.
Yeah, so why don't I'd like to really move on the name tags. So James, I mean, I have everybody's name the way it is on like the website, et cetera. I'll just kind of send an email out to everybody. You know, these are the name we're going to use for the name tag. Once I get a proof together, I can send it out to everybody. How's that sound?
Sounds
Like-
good.
Sounds good to me.
Cool. I'll go to Ray Reeser Trophy to order these, and
Yeah, I'm thinking, in the miscellaneous bucket on like public safety, we have $300 sitting there, and we have 137 sitting in the full commission.
okay.
So, I think we can cover it, whatever the
Okay.
expense would be, however much you decide.
Okay.
And
I mean, I'd like to
Unless
just
there's
put in the
more
budget, just put in the budget for like 5 for next year, right? Like, I don't know that we should actually prepay necessarily, but I hear what you're saying, James. Like, we could lock in the price, but it could just be an ongoing, expense to buy 5 new a year, or just, budget for it.
right. So what I did is through the extra, well, we had $1,717 accounted for, and then I threw the other 783 in the full commission under miscellaneous.
Okay.
And we can tag it, that's name tags go there. That doesn't mean all that has to be used for name tags, right? Because the city's looking at the buckets up above. Remember, just these kind of buckets, as long as they're allowable and they go in those buckets, we're okay.
Right.
They don't see this level of detail down here. So a lot of our budget, as an example, if I scroll over to this year, you'll see what the city sees is this. A lot of our dollars end up being in one line of miscellaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that we have to go back and ask for it, right? Because it was miscellaneous. So I think we're okay to go ahead and use that 300 and 137, however we want. So I think we've got a number at least. Now we're at the $2,500 amount. We have that extra 300. Do we want to try to get up to that? Or is it 2,500 what you want to?
I think we're just supposed to go to 2,500. I think that $300 is supposed to sit there for that period of gap, or if there is anything that comes across as an expense, that's what it's there for. It's kind of a cushion, but I don't think it's
Well, it's ours to spend.
It's supposed to sit there.
It's ours to spend. It was a donation made years ago when we weren't supposed to take donations. So I would spend it. That's my take.
I was told by the
Good.
city that at the training that every commission gets that, and they were going to take it all away last year, but they decided to go ahead and leave it there. And my question was, are they going to ask to take it away again? But I hear what you're saying, Sean. I think they scooped up that money. Is what and left us with $300. So, because all commissions get it. So,
Okay. All right. Well, then I think we've got it figured out. And unless we got a way to spend some of it this year, like I said, we need to get it spent this month, as early as we can next month. Try not to wait until the last minute.
can I go over a couple of those items? And we're going to renew Constant Contact. We're going to renew our Zoom license. Or sorry, we're going to renew Restream. We're going to renew our Zoom license. We're going to go ahead and purchase Constant Contact, Josh.
We can, purchase, and I just got like I say, they were supposed to email me and tell me that the thing went through, but I just looked on the site and it went through, so I should be able to pay now. We can prepay as much as you'd like, or pay the 83 whatever odd cents it was for 1 year, or whatever. We have options. So if we're looking for a place to dump money, that is an option, much like Ray Research or wherever. There are options.
We're going to go ahead and try to quickly purchase name tags between now and the end of April. We're going to give $30 back to Leia. What else is out there? Anything else that I can make sure we move on and make a purchase on? An award, anything like that still up for?
We do have dollars for an award. I haven't seen it spent yet.
We just haven't planned the ceremony or the what's the word? The event for it yet.
Yeah, okay, then I'd say no there. Any other AV equipment, anything like that, Josh, that needs to be purchased at this point?
I'm game for another camera, but I've gauged the crowd and it doesn't seem like many folks like to stream. So I vote one vote and probably that's it.
We were encouraged to use these funds for those kinds of items.
Would a second camera help us at all at our meetings or not?
I think
know
a
it
second
adds a
camera
mic,
would,
right?
well, I think a second camera removes the key man risk.
It does what,
If I
Josh?
just, it removes the key
Yeah.
man risk. If I decide not to go to a commission meeting, it doesn't get taped unless I make some effort to get that camera to somebody else.
I see.
So removing a key man risk is a good idea in theory, but you know, that's again, it would be up to somebody else then to take control of that and understand how to use it essentially, which it's not hard by any means, but that would be another aspect of it. I don't know if running two cameras could be helpful. It's just, it would be a drain on the internet. So that may be a downside to doing that as well. So it definitely would be nice, but there are positives and negatives for sure.
Or is there anything better we could do for the mics or the sound or any of that kind of equipment?
We could buy, so that mic seemed to work decently, or the speaker thing seemed to work decently. It had a built-in mic. We could potentially purchase something like that on a larger scale so that the sound travels better than a small speaker of that size. I don't have anything priced out right now that I could throw a number at you with, but I think that worked well, at least better, especially once we realized two mics were echoing really weird. But I went back and listened to the sound and it didn't sound horrible. So
Yeah.
a speaker potentially.
I will say that I thought once the speaker was, or once it was selected as the option on your laptop, and it did sound a lot better. At least we could hear people better too. So I like that speaker.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
that's personally owned, but I mean,
A bigger
doesn't hurt
one
to
would
use it.
sound, a bigger one would get you more clear sound. That one's made for a smaller space. So, you know, larger
for my
speaker,
desk.
more speaker surface space would get you better sound quality. But I don't have pricing on that right now to say how much.
No,
it
that
would be. It would
particular
take long
one,
to find one.
that particular one that we used was like a couple $100, I think. But
What's that?
I don't know. I mean, that's made for more of a desk, a small conference room kind of thing. It's got like, I think 10 built-in mics or so, 6 built-in mics around it.
I do think something like that would be a bigger value add than an additional camera, just personally. Because the stream, it does seem that the audio quality matters a lot more than the video quality. Especially since some of the presentation materials we can stream from the computer. So if we're breaking up to presentation materials, the camera is not quite as important as the audio.
Great.
Yep, agree.
Just put down there for me, please, for us to consider a projection screen too. We don't have one. We don't own one.
But you do.
Victoria brings that every.
Oh,
every
okay. Victoria
pulls it out of
does.
her basement, that big old screen.
All right. So I'll put speaker, mic, and screen.
Okay.
That's question mark.
Yes.
If someone wants to research it. And
I can look into that.
yeah, because
Do we know what size screen she brings currently by chance?
It's
I can
Big.
guesstimate, but yeah, I mean,
6 by 6 at least. It's a big.
I'll see if she knows.
so that brings up the question, Dan. Our reports that we do every month show we have, $2,100, right, to spend yet this year.
Right.
Well, that 2,100 includes that extra 300, right? Because we started out with $2,800, and we've been working down from that $2,800. So that's why I say we've got the money to spend.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, we start here with this 300, but then we go to 2,800 whenever they give us the money. Boom. And we talk about that the whole time, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you're saying that we don't get that to spend, and we don't have 2,800, we only have 1,800, which is, so
Yeah.
either way, we've got 1,800.
$1,800. Okay. Wow.
I mean, that's the minimum we have, but I think we have 21. If we should be able to take it to zero, in my mind. I can reach out to Melissa. Well, I know we talked to her in the last meeting, so she was back and forth a little bit, I thought. So
I can order some signs for zoning before the cutoff, I'm sure.
I agree.
I sent an inquiry to Patio Printing to see if they do those, so we can order them locally, but at a minimum, I can order them online.
So are you thinking ordering a few that are reusable? Is that your thought? Like
Yeah.
we have 5
I
of
think
them,
I
for
would,
instance? I don't know how many we ever have at one time, so.
I think I would try to order 5 first. Put some out there, see if they get a good response.
Yeah, I truly thought that when we looked at it before, I thought it was a good idea, because I thought, again, you're gonna reach more people, because the postcards, again, property line 150 or 120 feet, and that's it. So you don't get a lot most of the time. You get better word of mouth, I think, from the one guy that got it in the neighborhood, and then starts talking to everybody else that says, hey, did you hear about this or that? So
Rachel, could we put our website QR code on those signs? If I send
Yeah.
it to you,
Yep, we could do that.
or like our Facebook handle, or
Yeah, I think that would be best if it was kind of, notice there's a zoning application for this property. The hearing will be held soon. And then, it's not super specific, but it gives the information where people can go to our Facebook or come to our meeting and find out exactly what's going on.
And we talked in community relations about a telephone number that possibly we could put on a sign like that we could record some items, right? So somebody could call the telephone number and hear a recording of, our next zoning committee meeting is going to be on this date. We're going to be hearing the following applications. The location for the committee meeting is, et cetera. If that, just throwing that out as a possible way to be able to reuse the signs over and over again, to just have a number that you could call and hear a recorded message.
I'm trying to get this here. Here's a picture that I had from one when I was out on vacation one time. And so that was kind of what I was looking at before. You can put the application number, what it's there for, and then some kind of information on who to call. I don't know if you can see that on my screen, but
We
That's
just
kind
sent
of-
a spreadsheet, Sean.
oh, that's so fair.
That's all right.
Let's see, you're sharing your screen. That's what it says. You're sharing new share. Let me try a new share.
We're here.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Ideally, I would like to have all the information on there, but we would have to. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I guess.
That's pretty, I mean, it was taller, but I think this is a sticker or something here. It kind of
Oh.
looks like but they put the application and then what they're there for, and then a number to call, but I don't know. That was Williamsburg, Virginia sign, so.
I know for
Yeah.
construction purposes, a lot of times we just use a sheet of plywood and then like laminate pockets where the papers are either laminated or we actually have like sleeves mounted onto the boards, where we just go out there and throw our permits in, or sometimes we'll just leave the same information out there the whole time the board's up.
Yeah, real estate signs a lot of times have those little like plastic boxes on the side where they have papers in there. We could always get those and then have like a little flyer with the information on the side.
So, Rachel, you reached out to a company to get some more information, kind of a price quote, and then kind of bring it back. And I feel like the funds, Sean, if you agree with me, if we were able to make those purchases this year with the potential $1,800 to $2,100 that we have, it would be allowable. I think it falls in a bucket, doesn't it? So
Again, a lot of the bucket is
Advertising.
miscellaneous. Yeah, it's-
that's right. So
Yeah, so I think we're good. They don't see that we thought we were gonna spend it on this or that, right? They just see miscellaneous. So I think we're good.
okay.
So name tags, we were saying that $10 a piece, that's 150. So say put 200 expected in that area. I'm just trying to come up with a list of what we're expecting for the
Yeah.
rest of the year.
Yeah.
So I've got a 149.90 for Zoom, a 152 for Restream. Constant Contact was 84, I think.
83. Yep.
83. Okay, and then I put name tags at 200. We owe $30 or so for the printing for the election stuff. So those items equal up to be $614 of the 1,800. So we're still $1,200 for signs, speaker, screen, mic, whatever we want to do there.
Okay. All right.
Do we have to vote on any of those things or not? I mean, they're within our budgeted amount, but they're out of the buckets of the individual committees at that point, I think. So I know
So-
before we had said that if it was, you had X dollars in your committee, as long as you kept within that, you didn't have to come back and get a vote or whatever. So I don't know if we need to handle that differently here or not.
Our bylaws, I've read them a couple of times around this issue, right? Says that any purchase over $20 needs to be approved by the chair. The secondary question I would have then, does it fit within what we projected to be items that we had budgeted for in those buckets, knowing that we have some flexibility to say, advertising might take the shape of different forms, right? I mean, we're going to advertise that there's going to be a zoning committee meeting, right? That seems to be an appropriate use to buy a sign, right? So,
Right. So I would say like advertising, we had $1,200 in that bucket. In my mind, we spent 154 on those banners. That clearly falls in advertising. Postage, you could argue is advertising because we're advertising for the zoning meeting to get folks there. Pro printing, the pro printing is advertising. So I just don't want to get it to where we end up having too much in the advertising bucket. But if I add everything here, I think, yeah, we're probably close. We'll be all right, I think.
So why don't I go ahead and put up a motion that, given, and if we need to type this up and send it out to, or put it on the screen, we can do that. But everything that we just discussed, Sean's did a pretty good job of kind of itemizing what would be kind of program year expenditures, right? We can go back through that: Constant Contact, Zoom, Restream, name tags, a speaker for full commission meetings, potentially a screen, paying back Leia for some printing, all of those things, and then potentially signs for zoning. I know that's a lot, but would anybody, I would put forth a motion to say that these would be expenses that I could go ahead and make, all the known items I could go ahead and make, and that I will inform everybody about what the final costs of any items that we don't have specific dollar amounts, like name tags, speakers, zoning yard signs. How's that for the largest motion I've ever done?
I'll second it.
Okay. I appreciate
It-
that.
Yeah, again, I think we should be okay, everybody. It's not, none of these are expenses that fall out of line in my mind.
I
Maybe
Right.
our unofficial parliamentarian should rule on whether we can make a motion during, I mean, technically this is a full commission meeting because there's 10 of us. here.
Okay, so I
Agreed.
completely disagree. I completely disagree with that interpretation that this is a full commission meeting, just because like it says in our bylaws that our full commission meetings are announced as full commission meetings. So unless it's
Okay.
announced as one, it's not. So yeah, it's very clearly not a full commission meeting. That being said, since the chair has plenary power on expenses, the motion is unnecessary. That being said, it's if we vote on it as a committee and we find we're in agreement, there's no problem with that, right? There's, like, it's always good to make sure that we're in agreement.
Okay, well, I'm in agreement.
appreciate you, Patrick. So all in favor? We're going to go ahead and take a voice vote if that's okay.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think we should do more voice votes.
You think we should do more voice votes? Is that what you said?
Yeah, in full commission meetings, I think they're great.
Okay, I'm going to do a voice vote. Everybody in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. So I'm excited to begin to make some of these purchases. Thank you very much.
All right.
Are we adjourned? Is that what you're saying?
Can I make just a really
Oh.
quick appeal? We've got a Google form that has been created. It has been posted to our page about a week ago to get community members to sign up for volunteer opportunities and, more importantly, to join our mailing list to be notified of those opportunities. I am putting the link to the form in the chat right now. I've shared it to the Hilltop discussion page, but if I could have, ideally all of you share it to your personal Facebook pages as well, or if you have email lists of Hilltop people, send that out. We want to get people signed up. We want to get people, engaged with some upcoming volunteer opportunities. I would just ask for your assistance with that.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm going to just check in with Sean. Is there anything else that you have for the group today?
Not at this time.
Okay, then going to close the meeting, adjourn the meeting. Have a great rest of the week, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good